Hello families, this is Scott Cluntner, Cub Master of Pack 680. I am going to show you how to build a rocket for our upcoming rocket derby. I have everything you need right here, and I'm going to go through each item, let you know what you need to know about them, and show you how to put it together. Okay, so the first thing you need is going to be a 2-liter soda bottle. It is the body of our rocket. It definitely needs to be a soda bottle and not the bottle that was designed for water or juice or lemonade or anything else like that. It has to have been for a carbonated beverage so that it is strong enough to hold the pressure when we launch these. The next thing you're going to want is tape. Now you can use duct tape, packing tape. I think packing tape is probably the best. Masking tape or painter's tape will also work. Scotch tape doesn't work as well. I think you can get it to work, but do yourself a favor and get something that is a little bit stronger. You need some scissors to cut out your pieces, and then you're going to need the pieces themselves. And so we normally give out 3 fins. You can put as many fins on as you like. They're decorative. You can do 2 fins, 6 fins, 10 fins, 0 fins. It's really up to you. And the shape is not that important. I'm going to send you there's a downloadable template that you can use to cut out fins with. You can either put it over top of a piece of cardstock or manila envelope and cut it out. Or you can print it directly onto the cardstock itself and then just cut them out, which is what I've done here. I think cardstock is not as strong as the manila envelope would be, which is fine. It's still strong enough. Please do not print it on, please don't use the printer paper. It's definitely not strong enough. It's going to fall apart when you launch these. So 3 fins, and you can put them on however you want. You can put them on like this, you can put them on like this, you can do it like this, really whatever your scout feels like doing is fine. And then the last thing is going to be a nose cone piece, and this just turns into a cone like that, and then it goes right on top. And then for this thing, it's the same deal. There's going to be something you can print out and cut around it if you put it on top of a piece of cardstock or a manila envelope, or again, you can print it directly onto the cardstock and cut it out from there, which I think is a little bit easier. One thing to know is when you're printing these out, make sure when you open the PDF in the printer settings that it's set to print actual size 100%. You know, if the software fits it to fit the sheet of paper, which shouldn't happen. I've made these a size where that shouldn't be necessary, but just in case you notice that, make sure it's set to actual size, and so that when you print it out, it is the size you need it, because we're going to want to try to match it to the size of the hole here. So if you make it too small, it may not fit. Okay, and finally, you're going to want a piece of posterboard. And so here's a posterboard. It's going to be 22 inches is the length of the rocket, so it definitely has to be at least 22 inches long. This posterboard, the posterboard we normally use is 22 inches by 28 inches. You can get a smaller one. They have 22 by 14 inches, but when you roll it up, it's only going to roll up to here. I'm not sure. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to put together. And so just do yourself a favor, get the 22 by 28 inches, and then just roll it up. Okay, I'm going to put it together now. So when we put these together as a pack, we have these molds that we hand out. They're made of corrugated black plastic, and it makes it really easy to roll these up. You're not going to have that. You're going to have your bottle, and so you're just going to roll this up around your bottle. One thing to do is you're going to want to do this really tight. It's not going to be too tight where you can't move the bottle around, I promise. Make sure that it is not, try to make it as tight as you can. And so the other thing is just to make sure that the edges are lined up on both ends so it's nice and flush. And I didn't spend a ton of effort here making it tight, but you do want to make sure that it's not crooked. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect, because our motto is do your best. So I'm just going to tape the middle here. And it's going to be a good idea to have these pieces of tape kind of pre-cut and ready to go. But it really is fine. And then you definitely are going to want to probably tape the entire length of your rocket body just to make sure that it's aerodynamic, it doesn't fall apart. And then at the very least tape it at the end so it's easier to attach the nose cone and to attach the other end to the bottle. So I'm going to do that right now. And I'm not going to take the time in the video to do the entire length, but I think that it's definitely worth the extra for your scout. Okay, so we have this thing taped up. And inside, here's the bottle. So to position this on the bottle, you're definitely going to want to put it right at the top of the label. Okay, so it's kind of like this and flush, and then you just tape it all the way around with your tape. You definitely want to tape it all the way around. We don't want these bottles falling apart when we launch them because the force is going to come right here. And so it's going to push on the rocket right there, and so this is where it's going to be attached. You definitely don't want the rocket down around the nozzle, the top of the bottle, because that's where we attach it to the rocket launcher. So we want all this to be clear, so right there. You also don't want it like up here because it's going to be very difficult for it to stay stable, and it's easier for it to kind of fall apart. So kind of the sweet spot is right there at the top of the label, and so just tape it around. I'm not going to tape it right now, but again, don't forget to tape it when you're done. And so let's do the fins. Where'd my fins go? To tape the fins, you just put a piece of tape on each side, on this side and then this side, and then just kind of put it down. You can put the fins up here if you want. Normally you put the fins down here, 3 per rocket, but it's completely up to your scout what he wants to do. Like this, it's fine. Some people want to make them aerodynamic and kind of try to spin the rocket. I'm not sure that it really matters in terms of winning, but it's definitely fun to try to do. Last is the cone. So the cone is not too tricky. It's just you have to make sure that when you fold the cone, you want to bend it in towards itself and make a nice point. In order to do that, you can really fold this thing into itself a lot and make a really sharp point. That's not necessary, and if you do that, it's going to be too narrow here to fit on the end of the rocket. So it's going to be, it's going to look kind of like a jet engine, which is not the goal. You want the diameter of the cone base to match the diameter of the rocket body. And so in order to get there, you really just kind of need to fold it over the end, kind of like this, and you want to tape this seam really good all the way up, and ideally you want to not have any gap in here, but the way to eliminate the gap is to tape it over real good, not to fold it in more. You want to kind of fold it out. And you see if I fold it just to where it's overlapping, this will fit kind of right on the end there. You don't want to make it too big. Again, you're really trying to match the size as best you can. And then, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get my tape out. You can tell this is not the first time this has been taped because I was practicing. So you can see I've tried to cover that up as best I can, try to eliminate any gaps, and you're going to want to put extra tape on there just to make it nice and tight. And then it'll fit really nicely on the end of the rocket. That's where these tabs come in, and so what I recommend is you just kind of tape down your first tab, and then once that's taped down, you can tape down your other tabs. And then when all 3 tabs are taped down, then you can tape around the entire edge. Again, it's really up to you how much tape, how much effort you put into making this thing nice and bulky and tight and strong. And then once you're done, you're going to have your rocket's complete. All that's left is to decorate it. And that's where you and your scout can have tons of fun figuring out what your theme's going to be, if any, or if he just wants to color on it, it's fine. If the siblings are going to do it, then they can participate too. Go to pack680.org to see all the different show categories that we have. It's things like most patriotic, the spookiest, most futuristic, most creative, and a couple of others. And so we're going to judge those at the Rocket Derby. And then we're also going to launch them and record the amount of time that they spend in the air, and then award first, second, and third place medals to the rockets that are up in the air the longest. So what usually tends to happen is that sometimes we have some engineer scouts who want to put parachutes on these things. Those, if they work, sometimes they stay up in the air longest. What usually happens with the rockets is that they will launch like this, and then they'll kind of nose over and kind of fall down to earth, kind of like an airplane. And so maybe if you put your fins kind of like airplane wings, you can kind of get some more glide that way. Really, it's up to you and your scout. This is really just a lot of fun, and I hope you have fun building your rocket and then launching them. All right, thanks.